Today's interview is with Guido Nunez. Guido's a great guy, really enjoyed the interview with him. He talks about how he started investing in single family properties, and then when he lost his job, he then decided to go bigger in multifamily properties. So he talks about the deals he's done and the success he's had. He's just an all-around great guy, so I really enjoyed the interview. As always, like and subscribe on Wrestling with Real Estate, the YouTube channel. If you go over to iTunes and listen to the podcast and you get great value for it, please give me a 5-star rating as well as a good review if you feel like it. It's also available on PodBeAN and Spotify, as well as wrestlingwithrealestate.com, the website. So check out today's interview. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to chokeslam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barri Griffiths. Now today we have Guido with us. I should have asked you before, how do we actually pronounce your name?
Guido.
Guido. Okay, my bad. Guido with us today.
No problem.
And Guido is in very sunny Orange County, right?
Orange County, California, yep.
How's the weather? Is it hot there today? Is it cooling down?
Oh, it's 71.5, perfect and sunny.
That's beautiful. I think it's in the 90s here today. I'm in Vegas,
really?
so yeah, it's not too bad. 90 is cool. 90 is cool here. When it's 112, it's a problem. So cool. Well, thank you for making the time to come on the show today. I really appreciate making time. We had a fun little talk before. He introduced me to his son. Guido was telling me how they were watching some of my previous matches.
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton. Like a lifetime ago, but yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about you and what you've been up to and what you're currently doing in real estate?
Yeah, so I'm in multifamily real estate. That's kind of where my focus is at. And mostly in Southern California and Orange County, Allen County. We're in about 30 units. We have about 6.5 million in asset under management right now, with some additional passive investments out of state. It's been kind of my focus and kind of my dream that I had like 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I just started thinking, what else can I do? And I just felt like, it wasn't over for me. I felt young, I still do. And I just said, I'm gonna do this. So here I am.
That's really cool, really cool. I can see your face light up as well when you start.
Yeah,
I love that. I'm the same. I'm exactly the same way. I love it. So how do you find real estate, right? I'm always interested in people, how they find real estate, right? I've talked a little bit about my stories previously, but you have stocks, you have Bitcoin, you can be an entrepreneur, you can do nothing at all. But how did you find real estate, and what appealed to you about real estate?
How did I find real estate per se?
Yeah, investing as in,
and investing. So, interesting story. I almost feel like sometimes I say I'm like the accidental real estate investor. Way back when my mom was a real estate agent. So she did single family homes. She always talked about the path to wealth. One of them was real estate. So, I went to college, I did my graduate degree and got my master's, and I have my career, and I was focused on that. I still am. But, there was a point in time, I think it was, I can't even think right now, but, I was a couple of things. I was laid off at one point, and, and another point I had hit a ceiling, right? I was just like, what am I going to do? I started reading a lot and just starting to figure out that, we're going to work, forever. And we're going to be in the hands of whatever company that kind of holds us or employment. And that was it, right?
So how did you find real estate? There's a bunch of different other investment opportunities out there. You can invest in Bitcoin, in the stock market, start your own business. You can end up doing nothing at all, like unfortunately a lot of people did. How and why did you find real estate investing?
So, it's funny. Sometimes I tell people I'm kind of an accidental real estate investor. And, way back when, my mom was a real estate agent in single family homes. And she always talked about one of the paths to wealth being, real estate. So she, throughout the years, she'd talk about it, and, I was not really into it. And so it was kind of like, hey, half talk, half listen kind of thing. And, I went to college, I went to graduate school, and I had my career already set. I kind of knew what I was going to do, and I'm still active in it. But, I got to a point where, a couple things happened. I got laid off. I still had my house bills. Actually, when I got laid off, I was in the middle of an escrow for my house. Yeah, different story.
Yeah.
But, I was doing a lot of reading, and I just started, realizing that, I was going to be tied forever to a company's decision and whether they keep me or not, or give me a yearly raise or not, and I would work forever. And so, with that, I just figured that I try to create a new revenue stream, as they say. I just couldn't figure out what it was. Am I going to trade some stocks? So I dabbled in there, and I started like Googling, what can you do on digital websites selling stuff? I don't know. And so I just started remembering all the lessons my mom taught me with real estate, and lo and behold, some of it just stuck. I thought I wasn't listening, but some of it stuck. And I started dabbling. I started dabbling in single-family homes, renting some or flipping some. Nothing big, just small, but I made some money. And I just started, saving a little bit. And, one day when I was just reading more, actually, when I started reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I got really excited, and I'm like, I'm going to do this, bigger. And so what I found was that, the competition was, heavy in single family homes. A lot of investors, everybody's trying to flip. And so, I thought I'd go into multifamily because I just thought the competition wouldn't be there. It was my way. I'm like, hey, it's bigger. It's like less people. It'll be so much easier and stuff. And I entered by, almost by accident, just because I couldn't find something on this side. I said, hey, I'm going to try this side. And I know a little bit about it, but that's kind of how I did it, eyes closed, but with a heart and a passion.
Probably when you started, there might not have been that much competition, but right now, right, I think maybe multifamily is more competitive than single family almost. I think
yeah,
which is both good and bad, right? I'm happy that so many people have found it because it's a great wealth builder, and hopefully it'll improve a lot of people's lives. But from a selfish perspective, you kind of hope there was a lot less competition. But it's kind of how it is, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, some markets are so expensive, so priced, now California being one of them. So, but it's definitely changed from what it was, 6-7 years ago. It's getting much more competitive. A lot of players, a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Now, because of the pandemic, I used to say that it was hard to find, deals and easy to find money. Now because of the pandemic, it's probably harder to find money, right? Because everybody's different circumstances. There's risk you gotta manage, or people have lost money, so harder to find money. We'll see. Maybe deals will come in a little easier. So
yeah,
hopefully,
right? Yeah, it'd be nice to have some some
deals
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said something. You said a lot of interesting stuff, but you said that's something that really I've been thinking about for a while. You always talk about people talk to people about real estate, and they say, "Oh, isn't that risky? Oh, I don't know if I could take that risk, right?" But there is risk, right? There's risk with everything. But I also think that it's even more risky to not create that wealth. To create those ultimate the extra streams of income, right? Because if you rely on your W-2 job, I'm sure a lot of people, unfortunately, have found out over the last 6 months that you can't rely on your W-2 job. That's risky in itself. To just rely on your boss or a company to provide the livelihood and to be able to provide for your family. That's even more risky than not investing, right? Yes, there's risk in real estate. Of course, there's risk in everything.
Yeah, there's risk in everything.
But there's even more risk in just sitting back and relying on a company to pay you and your family's living expenses.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of risk, and I'll take it one step further. Like, one time somebody asked me, why do you do this? Why are you doing this? You have your full-time job, and you're going to be doing this, and there's risk, so on and so forth. And I said, hey, if you could, if you had all the money in the world, right? What would you like to, what would you do, right? And he would become a philanthropist and do good and give back. And I said, what if you created more revenues of income and you had that ability to do exactly that? Isn't that kind of like what you're saying is, if I could, I would give back? If you could, right, have your own additional revenues of incomes through investments, and you want to be that person that gives back, because that is what makes you happy. This gives you it, right? You can pay your bills and you can give back. Why not, right? And along the way, you're enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the ride. I mean, look, I'm here with you, Barry.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, people tell me sometimes, oh, I don't care about money. Right. And so it's like a two-thing thing. Almost, it's like a slap in the face to me. Like, oh, you think I just
Yeah.
care about money? I'm a money-grabbing guy. I just want to make some extra zeros, and that's all I care about. No, it's not. For one, it's not about the money for me, and I think it's the same for you. It's about that freedom. It's about creating that lifestyle. It's about living the best life you can live, right? And looking back, in 50, 60 years and thinking, wow, what a great life I've had, right? Because I created that for myself. But also, anyone who says that they don't care about money, it's baloney, right? It's BS, right? Because there's nobody. If you had more money and you don't want to spend a single more penny than you have, and you're completely content with everything you have, your kids have everything they want, you're doing everything you want, completely fine. But there's nobody you could help. There's not a single person in your family that you could help. You don't have a sister, brother, mother, father, uncle, aunt, someone that you couldn't help. And even if there isn't, what about other people? What if you could make more money and you make that extra income and give all of it away to a charity? That wouldn't help you. That wouldn't appeal to you. You don't care about money, but there's so much you can do about it. And it's not about the money and like, oh, I need this money in my bank account, and I need a Ferrari, and I need a $10,000 square foot, 10,000 square foot house. It's not about that, right? It's so much more than that.
Yep, exactly. And that was the whole debate, when I was approached with that, kind of argument as to, why am I doing it? Is it money, kind of thing, So yeah, we all have good hearts, right? So if we can, let's amplify it. Let's do more.
Yeah, so. And I found as well, like in this business, I find more good people than bad, or the successful ones anyway are usually good people. They're usually good people, because you don't get to be successful. There are some that can slime their way to the top, and cheat people or whatever. But the good people, because you need relationships, and you've got to build those relationships and those network and build teams.
Yeah.
And people don't want to work with people that are not good people. And I found, like, people like yourself, like, they're successful because they're good people a lot of times. And I think people see people that are millionaires, and because they're millionaires, they just ultimately think that they're bad people, right? We're just bad people trying to make money. That's all it is.
Yeah. We sit home, count our money.
Exactly. That was the case, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's quite the opposite of that. I was or the day before that, I sit on a philanthropic group, and we gave away like $15,000 to a nonprofit, and part of how this has helped me is it's giving me that extra income to say, yeah, I could be part of that, to give money away to a nonprofit, and we'll start again, and next year we'll give away twice as much, right? Because we for the most part crowdsource our own money within our own group, and it's one of the good things that doing this allows me to do. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, we got off topic there, but
no,
it's more about. But I think that's interesting for people to hear, because money is such an interesting topic, right? Most people don't talk about it, and it's like sensitive subject. So I think it's always good to kind of break through these barriers and, you know, get rid of these myths about, you know, money and investing and, you know,
Oh,
being
for sure.
a certain type
For
of
sure.
person. I think it's really important for people, especially people starting out, to get rid of that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me that your mom was an agent. You never had any
Oh
interest.
yeah.
You never had an interest in being an agent yourself, or was it that case of?
No, never had an interest.
Yeah.
You know, I'd see her eyes light up when she would tell me stories about what she does. But you know, I was always half listening. You know, I didn't have an interest in it. You know, I had kind of a goal career, and you know, I still am in it. But I never had an interest to be an agent, and you know, I just kind of fell back on it. And what was funny, and I mentioned it earlier, it's like as I started doing some of it, you know, I just realized that, you know, half the stuff she talked about, I thought I wasn't listening. Actually, somehow
Yeah.
it just stuck.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's funny.
Well, it's a challenge. It's a challenge because I mentioned I have a one-year-old son, and you have two kids yourself, and we're obviously very passionate about real estate, and we know what the lifestyle it builds. But you know, even though he's one, I'm already grappling with the idea that I know that I can't be like, hey, you need to go in real estate, because he's going to fight against that. You know, you go against your parents, right? Whatever your parents say. So it's going to be a challenge for me to try and involve him in real estate and let him come to that realization by himself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're doing anything with your kids to try and create that, you know, environment with them as well. I don't know how you're trying to introduce. Are you trying to introduce them to real estate?
So, you know, it's interesting to say that, you know, I don't want to force anything, like exactly what you're saying, you know. And you met Christian a little while ago.
Yeah.
He's big in basketball. You know, I take him to our properties, and I just let him see, you know, before and after, and just expose him. And that's kind of the farthest I get him in the real estate, you know, business. But, you know, what I do is, you know, chores are chores, is what I tell him. You know, you got to do them, right?
Yeah.
But if you want some extra money, you know, and he's a teenager, and he's going to get to the point where he's going to need a little bit more. You know, I give him books. So, you know, Richest Man in Babylon, he just finished that, and he has to kind of tell me about it, what he learned. And so I give him money for that. You know, soon he'll read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He'll tell me about that. I'll pay him for that. And so every book that he gets some sort of allowance for it.
You're bribing him, basically.
Yeah, I tell him it's the best investment that I'll ever make, you know, because he thinks, you know, he's getting a little bit of money. I'm like, but, you know, I feel like I'm investing in his mind for the future, and we'll see. You know, whatever makes him happy.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Yeah.
It's that balance, right? You know,
yeah,
you be happy, but you also know that, you know, there's a world out there that they can kind of go into, create their own life.
Yeah, whatever it is, you know, as long as he makes responsible choices and decisions, and hopefully some of the things that he's learning gets him grounded. And you know, it's kind of stuff that they don't teach you in college and in graduate school. And trust me, you know, I should know, because I went to both. And you know, I just, you know, I'm a strong believer of just teaching him some of the core stuff that I've come to learn that is kind of needed and at an early age. So, you know, good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish I mean, if I could go back to my younger self, that's probably what I would have told myself to do, is to read a lot earlier, invest a lot earlier, be fiscally lean a lot earlier, and be independent a lot earlier, you know. Probably what I've told myself.
Yeah, same here, 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna do the same with my son. That's a great idea. I love the idea. That's it's really cool. Like you said, they think they're getting something, but you're getting so much more.
I'm getting
Exactly. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. So then let's get back to the real estate. So what was your first ever real estate investment? You know, so you found real estate, you know, you're like, okay, this is cool. Like your mum's lessons were in the back of your head and they kind of came through. What was your first ever real estate investment?
On the multifamily side or single family?
No, you know, yeah, in single family, yeah. What was your
single
first
family? So it was a single family home, and you know, back then, I don't remember the year. It may have been like 2 or 3 or something like that. I remember. Yeah. my mom came to me with this house that she found in LA, an older house, and she talked about how people would buy these old houses, they fix them up, and then they sell them for a big profit and stuff. And I already graduated from college. I had some money saved up because I had my career going. And she said, "Well, why don't you buy it?" And I said, "I don't know anything about this stuff." But I ended up buying it. I put whatever money I had saved up for my career that was just starting. We bought it, and we hired people to fix it up, and I saw it just come alive, and we sold it. We made a profit on it, and it was awesome. It was exciting. It was exciting. I even I don't recommend this, but I even that time started picking up rollers and brushes, and I never painted anything, but now I started painting rooms and whatever it is that I knew. I didn't know what I was doing painting, but I did it. I was passionate about our investment, and it turned out well. Yeah.
That's cool.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if everyone's first flip ends up in the same kind of scenario, right? It's usually horror stories, but yeah. So how involved was your mom on that? Because obviously starting out, with yourself without any real experience, hire contractors to figure out how much you should pay for it, how much it'll be worth afterwards, how much you should spend on renovations costs. That's not necessarily easy, but was your mom watching you, or was it mostly you doing it yourself?
It was 50-50. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've always been a numbers guy. So, understanding what we were buying the property for, what the down payment was, and doing the bank loans for it. And it wasn't like a totally expensive house. I don't remember. It's probably in the twos back then. And then just, knowing kind of what basic kind of things to do. It wasn't kind of a throwdown or anything like that. It was basically, some paint and fixtures, some floors, that kind of thing. So, we just managed to get some help. It wasn't really complicated. And we just knocked it out. Yeah. And that was it. Yeah.
That's great. And then you have that proof of concept, right? I'm sure that after that first deal, was it like, okay, wow, this is amazing. I'm all in. Was it that point that was like?
No, it wasn't that point. Yeah, it wasn't that point. It was actually, when I was, I think I was after I was laid off, and I was trying to figure out, how can I create independence for me, from the companies, and I realized that I couldn't rely on a company to hold my future in their hands, and my family's future in their hands. It was kind of around that point that I realized that I needed to figure something, bigger out there, and so I just started, getting into real estate a lot more. Before I was just dabbling, here and there, but now I'm just, full in, and I'm excited.
Yeah, cool. The how many deals did you do then? From that first deal until that you said that point where you were laid off, did you do quite a few deals from that point?
No, probably around 10.
Okay.
And single family. Yeah.
They were all flips.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So one of them became a rental because when the crash of I think it was 2009 or something like that, I went underwater on it, and it was supposed to be a flip, but we got stuck. I got stuck with it, so it became a rental, and that kind of was my first foray into tenants. I became a landlord at that point, and not because I wanted, but because there was no way out of it. Market was in the gutter, and we were underwater, and so that's kind of how it kind of started.
These were all in California?
Yeah, they were all in California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe as now we're what's the date today? It's September 18th. And the pandemic has been going on for a while, and things have subsided a little bit in terms of economically. I think unemployment keeps going down a little bit, and maybe things look to be picking up a little bit. Who's to know, right, where we go from here? But so people like myself, for example, who weren't around for 08, 09 for the crash there, maybe talk to us a little bit how things were then, and how how you managed to make it through, because we've had plenty of people on here who've had to give up their property, had to, be foreclosed on and do a short sale, and that obviously hindered their investing career from that. If you maybe talk a little bit to that.
Yeah, it was tough back then. So, one of the things that I ended up doing is just having to manage the properties, on my own, and rental income, everything that came in, went out, and managing them. It was just always trying to find, like, man, the best deals or the lowest prices. It's not always what you want. I mean, I could tell you, Barry, there's some times where I go down the properties and, I paint them myself, one of our houses that we had, in order to get them ready for the new tenant, we went down there for a weekend, and, picked up rollers, brushes, and I painted the whole thing, with one guy who helped me out. And I even had kind of a rug shampoo or carpet shampoo that I had. And, I cleaned the carpets myself, and get them ready. And so, I think back then it was just more along the lines of survival. I didn't want to lose any of the properties. I just figured at some point it'd come back. Fortunately, for me, we only had two. So we just kept them afloat as best we could. There were some negative months, between tenants moving in and moving out, and you just dig in to wherever you can, whether it's your savings, your 401k, to make those payments and just keep you afloat. But that's kind of how it ended. Today, I think the biggest lesson for me is have reserves as you invest, especially in multifamily, because you're dealing with bigger budgets that could actually sink you. And so that's one of the key lessons that I've learned from that experience in 08, 09 is to have adequate reserves for the property. So in downturns, you have enough of buffer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Because if you have reserves and you have cash flow, you can kind of make it through everything. Right?
Yeah, oh, for sure. And, every investor has different strategies. Mine, the deal has to cash flow on day one. Mm-hmm. In California, it's tough. A lot of investors buy, expecting in year 3 or 4 to cash out or appreciate, and so they'll make the money when they sell it and stuff. And good for them, deep pockets. But for me personally, on day one, it has to cash flow, and that's really a hedge around all the cyclicals, right? Because even if it crashes or however so, the cash flows on day one. I mean, I'm set, right? I mean, right now, given the current conditions, all the properties they're all cash flowing, and so I think it was that lesson from that time, that got me here.
Yeah, exactly. And what I also got from that is, like, as a successful investor or entrepreneur, you just have to do whatever it takes, right? If it means cleaning the carpet yourself, you do that. If it means painting yourself, right? Yeah. Whether you have that skill or not, right? You create that skill in yourself. You have to do it, right? Because otherwise, what's the other option? And the successful people, they make it happen. Whatever it takes, they make it happen.
Yeah, you make it happen. Yeah, I mean, I was gardening as well.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, I wasn't gonna lose a house. That's kind of what I told myself. I wasn't gonna lose it. So any of them. So and that was it.
Cool. I'm glad that you made it through. Right. It's made you a better and stronger investor, I'm sure.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's prepared me. With the lessons from the past. As I underwrite deals today and I look at what our opportunities are, looking at what mistakes I've made, and or what kind of cyclical the economy goes, and how I can better prepare whatever deals that we're going to buy. So I think so. I feel like it's a school life, right? Like I've learned, through some very difficult years, and this was an interesting one too. But it's a testament, right, to kind of like what we learned in the past. And this year, it's a crazy year, but we have 100% payment on rent, and we're in September now, and we're right where we want to be with our budgets. You know, we did a refi on cashing out on one of our properties already. We're just on the sidelines waiting to see if there's anything that comes out of this fallout, you know, to pick something up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're right where we want to be, right? And I think a lot of it is the lessons we've learned, you know, or I've learned.
Yeah, I like the saying, you earn or you learn, right? You never lose. You earn and you make a profit, or if you lose, if you end up taking a loss, it's a learning lesson. It's you never really lose, because you can take those lessons and then grow.
Yeah, and that's true, and I love that frame of thought, right? It's because it's just the way you look at stuff, right? So, you know, if you lose, and then you put your head on the ground and you say it's over, versus you lose and then you say, well, what did I learn? And it's a totally different mentality, right? It's like 10 years ago, if you would have said, hey, let's $1 million property, right? I would have said, like, Barry, you're crazy. How am I going to do that? There's no way. There's no way that this is going to happen, right? You know, today, if you tell me that, I would say, man, that's a great idea. Like, how can we do that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are the investors that I know, they may have some capital to jump on that. You know, what do you have in your side? You know, let's look at that deal. If it makes sense, let's all take it down, right? And so it's a different perspective. It's a totally mind shift about how we think. So no, absolutely right, Barry. I think the way you frame things up is critical to success.
Yeah, unbelievably true. Unbelievably true. I love that. I love that. And it's like, how can we, I love that saying as well. You said, how can we make this happen? Not, oh, should I do it, blah, blah, blah. If it's a good deal, how can I make it happen, right? And that's such a good question, because you can always make, there's plenty of people doing what you want to be doing, or doing those kind of deals. How do we make this happen, right? You either look at that, or you find a way to do it. You bring one of those people. There's always a way to make it happen. You just find out yourself how. And that's such a better question. So I'm guessing you've talked about a couple of times about when you lost your job. Is that when you started thinking bigger and started looking at multifamily as opposed to single family?
Yeah, that was actually that point. So, you know, it was that whole Great Recession crash, and I got laid off, and I was right in the middle of an escrow of buying my home, you know, the one I'm sitting in right now, and it was like all doom and gloom, right? It's like, you know, where are we gonna live? I got a family, got kids. I don't know what's going to happen. But you know, I just started thinking, like, I can't leave my future in somebody else's hands to decide when they're going to do it. And if I'm going to create any kind of wealth, I can't just wait for a check and a 2% raise every year. And I had to figure it out. And so I just started like reading books and as much as I can, and I just started having ideas and trying to figure things out. And the single family kind of sphere wasn't working for me. I wasn't getting the deals that I was looking for, and you know, I wasn't getting all those opportunities. Everybody was a single family home investor, you know, back then, and I was just kind of crowded out. So I just was like, okay, well, you know, what do I do now? And so I'm like, I'm gonna do apartments. There's no competition there. Probably there's not a lot of competition there. And so, you know, I just went into it, and that's kind of how I landed in apartments. You know, I did my first deal in there, and it's been mostly good.
Well, you can't have a fairly long investing career, right, and not have any war stories, right? If that's the case, you're not doing it right. If everything goes perfectly fine and everything goes well, I'd say you're doing something wrong, because it just doesn't go. But I think that's a testament to your character. You know, you've lost your job, and you know it's during the crash, and everything's falling around you, and you're, rather than thinking, okay, I need to hunker down and like bury my head in the sand, I'm sure like a lot of people do, and feel sorry for yourself or whatever, you're thinking, no, I need to create something else for myself. I need to dig deep, and you want to go into multifamily. I think that's testament to your personality and your mindset.
Yeah, you know, it was it certainly wasn't easy, because you know, you almost feel like everything you kind of work for was taken away from you. And so, I just was looking for a lifeline, for something bigger and better. And that was kind of just my frame of thought. I mean, there was definitely those times where my head was down and I'm like, you know, what am I going to do? And, I started selling a couple things on eBay, and, I was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Let me make that clear. But it just was kind of that time. And, I had to just figure something out. And, I'm glad that I kind of changed my frame of thought and went a different direction. And, quit just feeling, sorry for myself, right? Because that's the worst. That's kind of where the end starts, when you start feeling sorry for yourself, instead of trying to be innovative about, what can you do, instead of, woe is me. And so, yeah, it's sometimes I say that being laid off was probably not a bad thing, because it shook how I see things, and it put me on that trajectory to start, reading and having dreams and figuring out what can be. And, you know, um, yeah, that's really what I could say about that.
Yeah, from a lot of times from adversity comes great things, right?
Yeah.
Because you're forced, right? What do they say, that diamonds are made by pressure, right? The pressure that's put on them. It's from coal to diamonds, right? That's because of the
Yeah.
pressure that's put on them, and that's that's what happens to a lot of us, right? It's that
Yeah.
pressure. You need that pressure. If life's too easy and everything's going nice and cozy along the way, you
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
that pressure to push
Yeah.
you to get to
Yeah.
something better.
Yeah.
I think
And it's so true, right? Because, I always tell, I tell everybody, I'm like, look, if it was easy, everybody will do it, right? If it was easy, everybody would do it. I tell my son, he's big into basketball. I'm like, everybody wants to be Kevin Durant, but nobody wants to put in the work. And so, you know, you got to do it. If you have a dream, you gotta chase it. And you have a dream, you have to believe in it, and you got to figure something out. So, for sure.
that's so true. I love that. Everybody wants to be Kevin Durant or Kobe
Right.
Bryant or
Yeah.
um, LeBron, right?
Yeah.
I'm from the UK, so I'm not a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
basketball guy, but everybody wants to be these people, but people are not willing to do the work, right? There was
Yeah.
a famous bodybuilder that I used to love. His name's Ronnie Coleman, right? I don't know if you ever heard
Yeah.
of him. Massive guy. And when he was training, he always used to shout, everybody want to be a bodybuilder, but nobody want to lift this heavy ass
Yeah.
weight. And then you would pick up the weight and he'd go, I do though. And then he would be
Yeah.
like, whoa, whoa. So I used
Yeah.
to love that
Yeah.
because it's so
It's
true.
true.
It's so
It's
true. It was
true.
such like, such.
Barry, have you read Can't Hurt Me?
No, but I want to. It's on my list. Yeah, it sounds, yeah.
Amazing book.
Okay, yeah.
There are a group of books that, I've read a lot, but there are a group of books that I can say that book changed my frame of thought. That book, changed my direction. That book, made me do X. They're game changers, right? Like that book right there, like was a game changer for me. It is a game changer for me. Book. I recommend it to whoever wants to, put in the work and read it.
Okay.
And I can't say enough about it. It's really kind of, to me, it's taking me up like another level, for me. Yeah.
Cool. I'll definitely gonna check that out. It
Yeah.
might be interesting as well. We won't get into it here, but maybe in the description you can send me a list of your favorite books.
Yeah.
We can put it in the description because I'm sure everyone likes a good book. So we put that as an extra bit of content in the description.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So your first multifamily deal, tell us about that one.
Yeah. So, man, that it's my favorite, and I still own it, and we've been through highs and lows with it, and so I was looking to get into multifamily, and I had this perfect scenario of the property that I wanted, and I was reading books, trying to figure out, okay, this is how it's gonna look, and I wanted in Orange County, and nothing was coming around, not like I wanted, right? And so I started like contacting brokers and just talking to people, and one broker one day calls me up and says, hey, you ever considered downtown Long Beach? It was in California. And so I said, downtown Long Beach. The only thing of Long Beach I know what, I don't know, rappers. I love rap, so nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all I've heard about it. So he was just like, hey, think about it, give it a chance. He's like, it's an up and coming area, and so I was like, well, all right, well, I'm gonna check it out. So I kind of went there and I looked at it and I said, all right, sure, we'll just kind of put a bid on it. We did. We got it under contract, and I was nervous, and anytime you buy something, you sign on the dotted line that says a couple $1 million, and it's a recourse, meaning you're on the hook for it. It's not non-recourse. You get nervous. So it was my first big deal, and we did due diligence on it, and we walked the property, and the property showed bad, and it needs so much work, and I was just like, what are you doing? That voice again, started going, what are you doing? Like, this is wrong. This is don't do it. So, out of a whim, I told the agent that was listening. I said, hey, well, why don't you run whatever's come out the last few days? Let me just kind of look at it. So he's like, oh, okay, you sure? Let's negotiate this thing. I'm like, just do it. So he did, and he gave me a listing. I looked at it, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. So I drove up, and it took me about half a mile to the ocean, short of the ocean, right? I got out of the car. I looked at the building, and I'm like, all right, it's kind of cool. And I looked right in front of me, and then that's where it hit me. I saw a bunch of luxury lofts, high rises being built, cranes, this whole thing. And by that time, I started reading about, path of progress, that whatever it is that you want to buy should be in a path of progress. And that's influenced my strategy today, because I stick to metro markets. That is my core strategy, and that's kind of longer term has helped appreciate my properties, my cash flow, the rental rates. The whole thing is that I stick within a radius of the metro markets. Mm-hmm. So when we bought that, there was a lot of competition on it. It was a sweet property, but the funny story, Barry, is as they were doing last and final, my agent, his broker was best friends with the selling agent, and the families went on vacation and all this stuff. And so I was like, well, that's interesting. Well, okay. So, it took, I think it was a few weeks. And we got the news that we were going to take the property. I already backed out of the other one. We bought it. And on day one, I found out that I had 5 units that were either vacant or they were about to be vacant. And it was a 14-unit building in here in downtown Long Beach, and the voice started coming out again. 5 units out of 14 vacant. We had hoarders that destroyed the unit. We had one tenant that just walked out, went to the property management company and says, I'm done keeping my deposit. We had, oh man, I remember one, I think the other 3, they were leaving their inside of notices. I don't remember exactly, but we had about 5. The voice came again. What are you doing? Right. And so, we just, or I just started, getting a hold of myself, and I was kind of the property manager on that building. It's again another lesson, Barry. I don't recommend being the property manager of the building, but I was it, and I had to deal with all kinds of different, tenants and termites and toilets, and I was kind of a startup, right? It's how you start, save money. It kind of takes me back to the houses where I was paying them, and it's been the best deal. And it wasn't easy at the beginning, and it was blood, sweat, and tears, as they say. But that building has given us the opportunity to, acquire another building. It helped us make our first passive investment. We've refied that building already. We're looking for another one right now, and it still cash flows. So it's been it's been my favorite one. Yeah, and it happens to be the first one that I did.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of cool stuff there. So I'll unpack in a little bit, but I'll touch on what you talked about last. Is that's one of the beautiful things about multifamily is that you can do a refinance. Pull out, I don't know if you pulled out all your money or part of the money or more of your money, maybe, but whatever it is, you'll be able to pull up money and use that, and it's cash, it's tax free. Remember, right? So those for everyone who's listening, when you do a cash out refinance, it's tax free, and then the property is still cash flowing. So you pull out maybe all your equity that you had in that property, and all the money that you had in that property, you're able to reinvest in something else. Plus, that property is still cash flowing. It's just absolutely amazing. It's like hard to believe that it's real sometimes, right?
Trust me, I tell myself the same thing too, and it's been a great property, and I always tell people it's like half a mile from the ocean. Who would want to live half a mile? I want to live in half a mile from the ocean.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. I was excited back then, but there were moments where I was just like, what am I doing? Or, at one point, to be completely honest, Barry, I listed the property, because I threw my hands up, I was like, I'm done. And I put it for sale. And so, it didn't happen. The deal fell through, it was an escrow and stuff, but, it was one of those moments where I kind of had to pull myself back. We kept it, and we've just added from that point on. We've just added, and we'll add again. Hopefully early this coming year, depending on how things shake out. But we're ready now. Did you hear anything?
Yeah. Anyone got any great deals half a mile from the beach in Long Beach? Beach, yeah. we have a buyer for you right here. Right price, of course.
Yeah, right? The right price.
But that's interesting that you said, that you had those moments where you're like, what am I doing? And I think everybody does, right? If you've got it to some extent, otherwise you'll just buy everything, right? Otherwise, if you don't have that moments where you're like, does this make sense? Is this the right property? But how, you said you listed it, okay, and then you got it back, and luckily it all worked out. But how do you fight those moments? How do you, in your own mindset, how do you figure out? Because I know we all have those moments, right? And it would maybe help to understand how you fight those moments.
Yeah, it's hard. I think I've come to the realization of a few things. First you got to trust yourself. That you're making the right moves, the right decision, and it's all grounded in some sort of facts. The second thing is you have to have some sort of goal or strike price or value that you're looking to get and exit, right? So we have one now on that property that we're going to hit. So once we hit, then we can exit, right? But to exit on something because you're just stressed out or you had a bad day, those are the moments where you got to stop yourself and say, okay, well, am I just stressed out, or am I just upset, or am I just losing it, am I burnt out, versus something other than that, right? That we're going to sell because we've hit our objective, right? And so you have to trust yourself that you're doing the right decision. I've moved on and we've hired some management there. And so, along the years, that's one of the things that I've told myself is, okay, well, how do we fix some of these bad days, right? So we've moved to that, and that's kind of has removed me and to do other things. I mean, look, I'm sitting here with you, Barry. And so it's helped me. But I think, and I go back to the whole David Goggins book, just kind of reading it and understanding that it's up here in our minds, and our minds are always going to try to protect you, right? Tell you that's wrong and tell you that's bad, and convince you, right? So you just have to understand, when are those moments where you're just going to have to trust yourself that you made right decisions and you have like the right goal. And once you get there, then we can execute, right? But anything in between that is temporary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So true. That's good. That's a great piece of advice there, and I think that'll help a lot of people.
Yeah.
They take that on board, because it's all numbers and it's all almost a game, right? To some extent, right? It's like that. It's fun, and you have a why. you have a strong why you're doing everything. Everything else kind of falls into
Yep.
place. You
Yep.
mentioned that we did the deal. Did you have a team in place, or was it
No.
okay? Was it you and just you mean you and your family?
Yeah. No. Well, my family's always with me. When I say we, it's me. You
Okay.
know, I always default to it. I don't know why. I think maybe because it makes you feel, you know, bigger.
Yeah.
But it's we. But it's interesting that you say that because one of the things that I'm focused in right now is scaling up. And, in order to do that in our business, it's all about teams, networking, getting out there and finding the, right investors and partners to take down, bigger deals. So we is a big part of this industry. And unless you have like deep pockets, really, really deep pockets, take down some of these assets or like 20 million bucks, it's going to be we. And so, yeah, it's important.
How did you fund? Did you fund that first deal yourself, or did you bring investors? Did you bring on partners?
No, it was myself, but it was, counting the last dollar, the last penny, pulling out of my 401k, borrowing some money and just putting it together. And I almost didn't get the deal. The first bank rejected me in the middle of escrow.
Oh.
So I'm not trying to freak out. Not trying to freak out, but this broker I met, he was, told me about this friend that he had in the broker world and commercial, and he had some connections. And so I reached out to him, and we kind of put a game plan of what we were going to do, and we got it done. But he told me that in the middle of it, that bank also didn't want to extend to me. They just saw a lot of risk, around what I was doing and stuff. And, my reserves were light because I was depleting it to all the capital and stuff. So I don't know if I recommend that to everybody, but it was the right property. It was the right numbers, the right area. Everything made sense about it. And so it was one of those moments where you just take a leap of faith, you trust yourself, you just take it. And I just took it. It's turned out, knock on wood, to be good, to be a good asset. So
yeah, I'm glad it has. And so now, what does your multifamily portfolio look like? How many properties do you own, and do you own them all yourself?
Yeah. So one of the properties I do have one partner on them, but we're in 30 units, all in Southern California, all active. Those are the ones that I manage directly myself. And then we have some passive investments out of state. And then we're looking to go on the active side out of state. So currently we're kind of looking, Texas, maybe Indiana. I was kind of thinking about Phoenix, but that kind of is expensive. I realized that too. So right now I think we're concentrated maybe in Texas to go out there, pick something now up, maybe along the $2-3 million mark, and add it to our portfolio. So yeah, if you know anything.
Yeah, no, I wish I did. If I did, I would share it. Yeah.
San Antonio.
But then, so you're looking to syndicate and further, or will you be just taking this down yourself?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's a great question. So, it could be either or, and so kind of the thought right now is what I've been doing since the pandemic is just kind of going out and expanding my network and just trying to talk to new investors to see can we do a joint venture, how can we take it in a partnership, do I take it to myself? So right now I'm kind of running like a two-pronged strategy. I'm going to go out there, I've already lined up brokers, a couple of investor friends that will meet with me, and property management companies will have some meetings out there. So if something comes interesting that I can take down myself, I will. If something is a little bit, bigger that for me to bite on, now I have groups of investors that are interested in doing something. So I'll make calls, see if they want to jump on with me, and we'll do it as a partnership. So a couple of ways.
Cool.
Yeah, opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you it's that openness to go whichever way that makes the most sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's having options. And it's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. You've yet to syndicate, right? You haven't done a syndication yet.
No, I haven't done a syndication. Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah,
This syndication.
yeah.
I think that's kind of like one of the highest level of what we do is to become a syndicator. So who knows? You know, 5-year plan. You know, I want to have a 100-unit building out there somewhere. We're just working to it. We're just working to it. And so we who knows, Barry? You know, if you lay all your cards right and you get all your uh, investor contacts, all your friends, everything correctly, who knows, right? You do it right, maybe we'll become syndicators, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You also mentioned you did some passive deals. What made you want to invest? Because obviously you're having all this success being active, right? What made you decide to do some passive deals, and what did you invest passively?
Yeah. Oh, great. That's a great question. So I was kind of wrestling with with the thought of, you know, am I going to go passive? Am I going to go JV? Am I going to go active? You know, what am I going to do? And so, you know, am I going to go out of state? You know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, you know, I would have never thought to go out of state. I would have said, again, the voice, it's like, you're crazy. Like, out of state, like who goes out of state? You're in California. But as I started branching out more and more and meeting more people that do out of state deals, I was like, people are doing out of state. You know, it's not crazy talk, right? It's real, right? And so my frame of thought started thinking, like, how do I go from I'm scared to go out of state to how can I go out of state, right? And so one of the things I started thinking is, okay, well, what if I did a passive play out of state? And I just started like, you know, learning. Maybe I start like learning from the GP that does the out of state and learning how he's doing it. And so, you know, I decided to do a passive play over in Tennessee. And that gave me kind of a direct line to, you know, the GP there. And so, yeah, you know, whenever like he'll take my calls, right? So whenever I need to talk or bounce something out, you know, I will. Like I have a couple of things that I want to talk to him about, not even about the properties, right? The property that we have, you know, that I want to do in multifamily, like write articles that you kind of see like in Bigger Pocket or something like that. And he does it, right? So we'll have a call in a couple of weeks, and sure, we'll talk about how the investments are doing. But you know, what I really want to talk about is like, how can I get an article on Bigger Pockets? Like, and that's kind of the thing. What the door has opened, and so to answer your question, why did I do it? Is because it gave me a way to reduce my risk going out of state, to open myself up to somebody who is experienced to go out of state. And I think 3, in all honestly, it kind of just slapped all the scared from me, and it wasn't alien anymore, right? And so that's kind of why I did it, and that kind of laid the foundation, you know, today. Because today it's not, am I going to go out of state? It's like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I got a plane ticket that's going to say it's going to happen, right? Because I got to head out there. I got to do some due diligence, well, not due diligence, but, you know, some footwork and check out the market and see kind of, you know, what's out there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I did it, why I did it.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I think, you know, talk a lot about, you know, people invested passively, because I think it's great for a lot of reasons. Like for yourself, right? It's one, diversification, right? So you can diversify yourself outside of your company and outside of your investments and outside of your area and state. So you go to that. But also it's something great that if you want to, you know, be active in doing a syndication, you see how the guy is doing it.
Exactly.
How is he talking to investors? What did the deal look like? What are they doing on a monthly basis? What are they doing annually? What are they doing on a quarterly basis? Plus, like you said, it gave you access to that GP you might not have necessarily had, and you've created a relationship with that guy. Who knows? Maybe you'll partner up with him, maybe you won't, but you have someone that, you know, you paid him, but you're getting a return on it, right?
You're getting a return, yeah.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny because, you know, I was talking to this other investor the other week, right? a couple weeks ago or something like that. But he, we were talking about possibly doing some sort of deal and stuff. And he's like, this is what I can bring to the table. I said, this is what I can bring to the table. And he was just like, hey, the only thing I don't know is how to do like a partnership contract. Like, I've never done that. Are you familiar? And with that passive investment, we did. We had a partnership contract. We read it. I mean, it was the boringest 2 hours of my life, but I read the contract, and so I got that. We signed it. I had my attorney look at it. I understand how he built the LLC to house our LLCs in the partnership. And so, not that I'm an expert, but, when he says, well, can you do it? Now I have kind of a framework, like, yeah, I have a framework of how to get us going in joint venture now if we wanted to do something like that. It's not alien anymore. So there's been a lot of positives. Barry, I think it's almost like the great debate in our multifamily industry is, do you go passively or actively, right? Because there are pros and cons on both. And I don't know. I just like the active side. I feel young. I still feel like I can, take down properties and I just like seeing them get turned around. And there's just so much, right? There's the legacy part. There's the wealth building part. And there's the part of leading that I enjoy. I mean, right now I'm kind of just like, I'm good with the active side, But if there is like a syndicator that needs passives and they're kind of a star syndicator, I know a couple, and I'd jump on it for sure because it gives me access. So sometimes that's kind of the it's not only the return monetary, sometimes it's what else you get. It's the learning, and that's some of the stuff I think sometimes we don't put enough value on.
Yeah, I think it's both, right? I think you can do both. I think there's nothing wrong with being active and creating that wealth.
Yeah.
Some of that money that you make investing in passive in the deals.
Yeah,
I had a lot of the top guys. Joe Felix, for one, invests in other people's deals for reasons. One, that is passive and he doesn't have to do that work because he's doing plenty of work as it is with stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that passive, but also he's seeing what other people are doing. So he's learning what other syndicators are doing and what they're doing on their deal. And he actually mentioned one thing that he took. He has two types of investment you can do. One is just a straight up preferred return, no equity split. So it's a 10% preferred return, or he does a 7 or 8% preferred return with a 70-30 split. Because he found out that some people preferred that just straight up 10%, no equity split, no real upside.
Yeah.
And some other people prefer a lower preferred return, but to have more of a chance of an upside. So
give me the upside.
You learn even someone like himself, who's, I don't know if you know about it, but he's super successful. And this this is something past year that he mentioned that he learned. So it's. You can learn from other people all the time, right? The moment you stop learning is the moment you're in trouble, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's big.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well.
Do you know him?
Yeah, he's actually my coach, my mentor. I joined his program. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So, that's what I like about him as well. He's super successful, but super nice guy as well.
That's
really,
awesome.
like, not a guru, not a snake or anything like that. Really good guy. So
is Joe is he the one that wrote the best series, the best syndication?
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Ever or whatever.
Yeah. I've read that.
Yeah,
I read that. That was a good book. That gave me the intro to a syndication world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, as you know, you mentioned that you looked online for some of my stuff. I used to be a wrestler. So it's called Wrestling with Real Estate. So I always like to ask some wrestling themed real estate questions. So, I hope you're ready. Maybe we should get your son back in. He can help you.
Yeah.
So the first question is, what would your wrestling name be? If you had a wrestling name, what would it be?
Can I borrow from some of the 90s wrestlers?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think I'd be called the one man gang.
Okay, the one man gang. Yeah.
One man gang. And
everything yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, because I started doing everything myself, even like painting the walls and doing the carpets. Why was I doing that? Managing the building and underwriting. I mean, look, Right now I'm sitting and I'm the social media manager, I guess. That's
Yeah.
so I'm that's what I would be. One man gang.
One man gang, and that way you learn all aspects of the business as well, right? If you just
Yeah.
one, you know what goes into property management, you know what goes into painting, what goes to
Yeah.
so people can't rip you off, and you know what to expect.
For sure, it's invaluable. I mean, today we have contractors on projects that do remodels, and they'll quote prices because I still I asset manage, and when we do the remodel, I still project manage it because of the budgets.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have quotes and bids, and I'll be like, come on, seriously? Like, I've been in the front lines, and I kind of know what we're doing at at some of these things, and so it's helped quite a bit.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Every wrestler has a special move. What would your special move be in real estate?
Man, I think I don't even know what's a special move, Barry. I would say it's probably problem solving,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd say that because I tell people that, like, I'm it's a problem solving. Like, if there's an issue or problem, I'm not gonna hang my head low.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not figure out a solution. There's always a solution, right? You gotta figure it out, right? If there's no financing, let's find financing, right? If we have a big issue on X, let's find a solution on X, right? So I would say problem solving.
Yeah, and I would say perseverance as well. I get that from you as well. That you're very strong-minded, and you're gonna make it happen. You're gonna go through with it. You're gonna, you know what I mean? I
It's
get
gonna happen.
It's
gonna happen. Yeah.
So cool. What's been the biggest body slam you've taken in your real estate investing career? What's the biggest thing that's gone wrong?
That's gone wrong?
Yeah.
When we were acquiring a property in Orange County, and I've always liked Orange County, and it was the property checked all the boxes. I walked the building. I really liked it, and I really wanted it. So there was competition out there, and it was my first deal that I put no contingent. So we did the offer, no contingent, and I just thought I was the big investor there. So all the agents, they love no contingents.
Yeah.
So we put about $60,000 first money, and the money went hard on day one. So, okay, we're gonna do this, right? It's gonna close. That was my mentality. It's gonna close. Don't worry, it's gonna close. But when we got title, we were in escrow. Money went hard. Already went on the seller side. We realized that the title was wrong, and the building was actually short, one unit, and the unit that they called an apartment was actually unconforming. And so I mean, that changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Changes the value, changes the underwriting, it changes the loan, it changes the down payment, it changes everything, the resale, everything. So I tried to go back to the sellers. They took a hard stance. They were like, it's no contingent. You want to leave, but this is our money, kind of thing. And man, I thought I was out money, and the voice came back in myself again. It's like, don't worry. It's like, this money won't affect us. We'll lose it. It's okay. Next deal. And I said, no, I got body slammed, and I mean, it's a lot of money. Like, I'm not ready to lose $60,000, but I think I just started looking for what I was going to do, and we just started sending demand letters to the seller, to the agent's office, and we were just short of going to court. They came back to the table. They kind of went silent on us. They didn't want to talk to us. They were like, you're either going to close or you're not. The clock is running. Escrow is going. And so came back to the table after they got all the demand letters. And, they renegotiated the deal. I got the building at a better value or price, I guess. Yeah, better price. And that's it. I mean, they had some choice words for me on the way out that they told the agent to tell me, but whatever.
Yeah.
I was in the one line.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah. Well, cool. I'm glad it all worked out in the end. Was
yeah.
there a moment you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you were scared? What was it, and how did you overcome it?
Scared in terms of doing like a deal or something?
Yeah.
Or?
What was it? Yeah. Was there a moment that you were scared of taking action on something?
Yeah, it was the first deal in multifamily. It definitely, it's not like buying a single family home. It's get one for a couple $100,000, at least back when I was doing it, right? So it was a moment where you realize that you were on the hook for a couple $1 million and recourse, and they're gonna come after you if you don't pay the bank, right? And so I think it was the moment that hit, but also it hit that I was going to be the property manager, and I was reading all these books on how to be a property manager, and I was just like, what are you doing? He's like, property manager, and loan, and you're gonna fail, and all this and that, and there were moments, and it was almost like going back to the earlier story when I put the building for sale. In year one, I put it for sale, and I was kind of thinking I was going to get out of the business and make a little money, and that was it. But I kind of just went back to my lessons. You trust yourself, make the right decisions, you make the right analysis and research, and you trust that you're making the right decisions. That's kind of, I think, my moment on the rope where I just took a leap. I'm going to trust myself, and I just jumped.
That's a big jump, It's a property. How much did you? Sorry, I never asked you. How much did you pay for that property, if you don't mind me asking?
The first one?
Yeah.
We paid $1.4 million for that one.
Yeah.
It's probably valued right now, probably between 2.7 and maybe 2.9, somewhere around there.
Wow, great.
Yeah, it's been a good it's been a good building. So happy. Path of progress.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I've learned. Path of progress. If you get the right properties in path of progress, it is only gonna help in your appreciation.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Cool story, and cool story all in general about how you've gone from single family as your mum trying to persuade you to get into it, and something sticking in the back of the brain, and then ultimately when you unfortunately lost your job, that propelled you forward to go into multifamily and has created this investment portfolio that you currently own, that you're looking to growing even more. And I can just tell by the person that you are, you're going to be as much success as you had now. I think this is only the start, right? This is only the tip of the iceberg for you. I think there's a lot more to come from you. So I'm excited to hear from that, to see it, and to hopefully encourage you along the way as well. So
for sure. For sure. I mean, I'm excited that we're connected now, we're contacts, and who knows, small world, right? Who knows? Maybe we'll do a deal.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, that would be great. Before I go, for anyone who's wants to find out more, there might be people here who maybe like, well, maybe I might be a passive investor with, or I want to just hear more about what you're doing. How can people get in touch with you and find out more about what you're doing?
Yeah, you can just look me up on Facebook under my name, Guido Nunez, and Guido Nunez, and just look me up. I'm pretty friendly guy.
Yeah, I think you're very friendly.
Yeah, try to be.
Yeah, very easygoing. Okay, and do you have any? Do you have a website or anything like that?
No, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because that's one of the things that I've kind of been wanting to do now that I've transitioned the properties off to management, or in transition of doing that. It's kind of focus on doing some sort of like small website, just telling me about what it is that I do and that kind of thing. And so it's in the works. It'll be in the works. It'll happen. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, Guido Nunez on Facebook. I'll include the links on the description below. So Hey, thank you so much, man. It's an absolute pleasure talking to you today.
Oh, thank you, Barry. It was a pleasure. It was fun talking to you. Yeah. Dude, I loved it. And by the way, I love Cirque du Soleil.
There's so many more questions I wanted to ask you, but we're already, gone way above time anyway. So thank you so much, man. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Barry.
Thank you, man.